As we go to air tonight, yet another boatload of asylum seekers bound for Australia is awaiting rescue on the high seas off our northern shores. The boat, with about 85 people on board, sent out a call for help earlier today, and Indonesian authorities are coordinating a response. 31 asylum seeker vessels have headed here since the start of June, yet Australia still has no policy on asylum seekers after the major parties and the Greens failed to break their deadlock. The opposition's policy is to turn back the boats, but tonight there are new warnings from former Defence top brass who warn that that approach is dangerous and possibly unlawful. Heather Hewitt reports.
As more boats arrive or sink along the way and lives are lost, the political stalemate over how to best resolve the problem drags on. Today came the latest impediment to a breakthrough. Final confirmation Tony Abbott would not involve his team in a bipartisan task force headed by former Defence Chief Angus Houston.
I'm very happy to talk to Angus Houston. I've already arranged to talk to Angus Houston and his committee later on this week. But we don't need a committee to tell us what our policies are.
Mr Abbott is always able to say no, but he's got no real solutions when it comes to border security.
We've had consistent policies for a decade. They're policies that worked.
He should stop playing politics, he should step up to addressing the national interest, and he should reverse this decision.
That's not going to happen, and Tony Abbott's decision came as no surprise to anyone, including Defence chiefs, past and present, who have been following the debate closely.
There's a long tradition in Australia of national security problems being dealt with in a bipartisan way. And clearly Mr Abbott has no wish to solve this problem. He wants to maintain it as a problem because he sees it as an election winner.
Are we still playing a game where nobody's prepared to give anything on this issue? And that leaves asylum seekers still in jeopardy, I think.
Admiral Chris Barry became Defence Force Chief in 1998 when his friend Paul Barrett was Secretary of the Defence Department. Admiral Barry's reign under the Howard government included the Children Overboard affair and CivX disaster. The two feel qualified to monitor the latest developments and Tony Abbott's strict adherence to his turn back the boats policy. One the Indonesians say he failed to raise in talks with President Yudhoyono in Darwin last week.
The leader of the opposition has been going around the country thumping his chest about how if he was Prime Minister he would tow boats back to Indonesia. Well, he's happy to say that to Australians around the country, but he was too cowardly to say it to the President of Indonesia when he met with him in Darwin.
I'm just going to make it a rule not to discuss the contents of confidential conversations.
Mr Abbott knows this policy won't work. He should also know that this policy is dangerous for our Navy personnel. Our Defence Force leaders have made that abundantly clear. And I'd ask Mr Abbott, how many lives of Navy officers is he prepared to risk?
The question goes unanswered for now, but it's an open secret that the Defence Forces have great uneasiness about the policy, which operated in a handful of cases in the Howard era.
I think a declaratory policy of turning boats back is very bad policy. It's bad policy because, firstly, it's going to invite people smugglers to work out how to circumvent it.
In your experience, what would Defence Forces be feeling about this policy?
They would hate it. The ordinary sailors would say this is not what we joined the Navy for.
It's going to place commanding officers of Border Protection Command vessels and Navy vessels in a difficult situation of trying to achieve some sort of policy outcome under direction and balancing that against their obligations under international law.
Your first duty under the Convention on Safety of Life at Sea is to ensure the safety of the people.
The argument is backed up by legal experts who suggest that if implemented, it could face a challenge in the High Court, just as the government's Malaysia solution was successfully challenged last year. Still, the opposition leader is sticking with it, though he's not always able to give a detailed explanation on how it would actually work in practice.
It's the same as it worked in the past.
Well, remind us of how that was.
Well, I'm not going to go into those sorts of details, but it was
critical. I mean, tell us how it works.
And various naval commanders have explained all this in great detail before Senate Estimates Committee and elsewhere.
that at no time had a child been thrown from C4.
No, I do not.
Admiral Barry has certainly appeared before Senate Estimates committees and now says the approach is fraught with difficulty because it was standard practice in the Howard era for people smugglers to destroy boat engines as they got close to Australia.
One of the jobs we had to do was to fix those engines so they could actually make the vessel navigable again. Secondly, we had to restore some of those vessels to make them seaworthy. And to cap all of that off, the mechanisms by which you actually tow those vessels without them breaking up and sinking it also makes it difficult. And we should also be mindful that under international law we have certain obligations. Before you can tow a vessel back, it's got to be seaworthy and it's got to be navigable.
They're placing our naval personnel in a position where they really have to question the legality of their instruction, and I don't think we should ever put our defence personnel in a position where they're being asked, where they're forced to challenge the legality of the instruction they're given by the elected government.
The other consideration being talked about increasingly in defence and diplomatic circles is how the policy might affect our relationship with Indonesia, whose patience is already being tested by Australian politicians' constant focus on asylum seekers.
Our interest in talking to Indonesia is always about how Indonesia can solve a problem for us. So the President of Indonesia comes to Darwin to meet with us, and all we want to talk about is asylum seekers and drug traffickers. He comes to talk about economic relationships and trade links.
Our relationship with Indonesia is vital for Australia's security out as far as I can see, and I don't think we should undermine that security relationship in any way.
If we were serious about solving the problem, we would be talking to Indonesia about how we jointly solve it, rather than talking to them about how you, Indonesia, take a problem off our back.
Heather Hewitt reporting.